I would like to call this regular council meeting to order on Tuesday, November the 22nd, 2022. First up on this evening's agenda is adoption of the agenda. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Pearson, any additions or deletions? All in favor? It's carried. 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the October 11th, 2022 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented. Councillor Pearson, Councillor Blanchette, any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. Under 4.1, we do have an oath of office to be administered to each incoming member of council, that being the appointments to Mrs. Donnie MacLean and Mr. Hugo Mulyk. Mr. Depenau, please.
With pleasure, Your Worship. Councillor-elect Donalda MacLean, if I could call you up to sign your oath of office, please. I would ask you to read out the first half of the sheet there, if you don't mind.
Okay. I, Donalda MacLean, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the Village of Valemount, to which I have been elected. I have complied with the provisions of the Local Government Act in relation to my election to this office. I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the Community Charter. I will carry out my duties with integrity. I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties. I will be respectful of others. I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration. I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
Just on the bottom right, if you invite you to take your seat at the council table. Councillor-elect Hugo Mulyk, I'd invite you to come up and swear or affirm your oath as you see fit. Trouble you to read out the document, top half of the sheet there, sir.
I, Hugo Mulyk, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the Village of Valemount, to which I have been elected. I have complied with the provisions of the Local Government Act in relation to my election to this office. I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the Community Charter. I will carry out my duties with integrity. I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties. I will be respectful of others. I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration. I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
On the bottom right, sir. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Invite you here, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor MacLean. Thank you, Councillor Mulyk. Thank you, Mr. Depenau. At this time, we will be circulating under 4.2 a council code of conduct to be signed by all members of council. A slight change since the last term, and to which it was voluntary. Under this term, it is a necessity from the Minister of Municipal Affairs that a code of conduct be signed by all councils within the province of British Columbia. Mr. Depenau.
Council, if I could trouble you to pass this to your right upon signature. Each of you has a spot to affix your signature on the bottom left of the sheet.
The oath of office, sorry, not the oath, the council code of conduct will be published on our website after signing and has been circulated to members of council previously. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Mr. Depenau. Under 5.1, incoming members, council members, do you have any opening remarks? The floor is yours, should you wish. Councillor MacLean.
I wanted to thank council for placing their trust in me once again to join them, and I look forward to serving with you for the next 4 years.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Councillor Mulyk.
I would like to offer the same. Thank you for having trust in giving me this opportunity to work with council. I'm just thrilled to be here, and I look forward to the future.
And collectively, we're ecstatic that you're joining us. Thank you. We do have under 5.2 a letter of congratulations to the sitting members of council from our esteemed member of the Legislative Assembly, Ms. Shirley Bond. Congratulations to Mayor Owen Torgerson and the Village of Valemount Council on the beginning of your new term in office. I am very proud that I have the privilege of representing Valemount and the Robson Valley, and I'm glad to see once again Valemount will have a strong team to represent them for the next 4 years. I also want to thank all of you for taking on the challenge of serving in municipal government. Running for public office calls for commitment, hard work, and a love for the people and place you call home. I know that each of you will serve your community and residents well. I look forward to continuing our productive working relationship as a member of, quote, Team Valemount, unquote. Together, we will ensure the residents of this beautiful community and region have an effective representation they deserve. Congratulations again, Shirley Bond, MLA, Prince George Valemount. We do have a couple of things under correspondence for action. First off, 8.1, we do need a council appointment to the Prince George Regional Advisory Committee, which does advise to the Northern Development Initiative Trust. Any takers on that? They meet about 4 times a year, looking after the Prince George accounts. So anywhere from Mackenzie down this way would be, you would be making advisory comments back to the board. I sat on it last term. It's outstanding. Most of the meetings are virtual. There's a couple of Prince George in-persons, but I'll take any takers.
Sure, I'd like to.
Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Blanchette, that Councillor Mulyk represent the Village of Valemount at the Prince George Regional Advisory Committee. Discussion, please. Hearing none, all,
No, I just, excuse me, thank Councillor Mulyk for taking it on. I think that'll be a really good fit for you.
oh, I wholeheartedly agree, Councillor. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? It's carried.
Your worship, they are also looking for an alternate for that committee.
There are no objections. I'll throw my name out there. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor MacLean, that Mayor Torgerson be the alternate to Councillor Mulyk to the Prince George Regional Advisory Committee. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Mr. Devenel. 8.2, Firm Foundations Christian Outreach is looking to, putting forward a request to waive fees, and the recommendation here that the Community Hall rental fees for December 20th, 2022 Community Christmas Party be waived, subject to, 1, Firm Foundations Christian Outreach complying with the requirements of policy number 12, rental of village facilities and property, and number 2, providing the village with a copy of a communicable disease mitigation plan as per administrative policy number 2021-02. What's council's wish? Moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Pearson, that the rental the fees be waived for the community hall. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 8.3, Regional District Fraser Fort George, looking for a referral of temporary use permit number 269 for the Trans Mountain Work Camp located in Cedarside. It is requested from administration that comments from council in response to the attached referral be forwarded to the Chief Administrative Officer no later than Friday, December 9th, 2022. A resolution is not required. I'll leave it to you fine folks and myself to forward any sort of comments in terms of the renewal. So in this case, their temporary use permit expires on December 31st of this year for the entire work camp, 600-person accommodation facility just located off of Whiskeyfield Road. And again, regional district, it's in regional district lands, therefore it's their cup of tea to take on. But if you have any comments, for sure get them into Mr. Depenau by the deadline. Is there anything out of the reading file folks would like to bring to surface? Councillor Blanchette?
I do. The ambulance paramedic piece, where they're reaching out to have a meeting. I think we should take that opportunity.
Mid-December?
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Pearson, that administration reach out to Mr. Clifford and the ambulance paramedics of BC for a follow-up meeting. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. Anything else folks would like to? A lot of congratulations from a number of our partners out there. Grateful that we have folks like the Yellowhead Highway Association, Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association, BC Assessment, Columbia Basin Trust, Ministry of Energy and Mines. Be prepared for a few more of these congratulatory notes coming in the December reading file. And I'd like to pull to surface the Regional District Fraser Fort George, November 2022 board highlights. Thank you, Councillor Pearson, for attending the inaugural meeting on my behalf. There's nothing else. We'll move into administrative reports. 10.1, building permit values for July through October 2022. Recommendation that the report be received. Councillor Pearson, moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion on the report. On receipt, Councillor Blanchette.
It's nice to see things are still moving, you know, even with fall and winter coming.
Yep. Well, get those permits in during that time. You can plan for construction season next year. All in favor? It's carried. 10.2, 2023 council meeting schedule, that the attached be approved. Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. You almost got the full summer off.
Almost.
All in favor? It's carried. 10.3, request to reach out to Northern Development Initiative Trust and the Valemount Community Forest for grant writing support. A couple of resolutions before us, Council. Number 1, that staff be directed to apply for the maximum amount of $8,000 for the NDIT grant writing support program for 2023. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. And number 2, that staff be directed to request grant writing financial support in the amount of $8,000 from the Valemount Community Forest Limited Partnership for 2023. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Any discussion on that? Councillor Blanchette?
It's a partnership we've been doing for a while, and it's a good partnership, so I'm glad that we're still continuing.
Absolutely. All in favor? It's carried. 10.4, we need to entertain the development variance permit 22-03 at 1170 9th Avenue. Councillor MacLean?
I would like to be recused as this is very close in my neighborhood.
Very, very good. There is a recommendation to give just initial approval to the proposed development variance 2203 for 1170 9th Avenue, legally described as Lot 11, District Lot 7355, Caribou District Plan 26557, to decrease the interior setback for a principal building from 2 meters to 1.52 meters. Council's wish. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion? Any questions for administration, planning staff? Now's the time. All in favor? It's carried. Can we invite Councillor MacLean back in, please? Initial approval has been given. 10.6 amendments to the, 10.5, development variance to Mr. Deffen, I'll just about have a heart attack. 10.5, development variance permit 2204 for 1471 8th Place. Recommendation that initial approval be given to the proposed development variance number 2204 for 1471 8th Place, legally described as Lot 15, District Lot 7354, Caribou District Plan PGP 39482, to decrease the interior setback for a principal building from 2 meters to 1.52 meters. What's council's wish? Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion. As you'll notice in the report from both 10.4 and 10.5, both fit within the fire code of the BC Building Code. That's why we're able to move ahead if it is the will of council. There's no further discussion. All in favor? It's carried. 10.6 amendments to the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society MOU for the Ash Street development. Councillor MacLean.
I wish to be recused for the next 2 items, 10.6, 10.7, as I sit on the board for the Valemount Senior.
Councillor Mulyk.
I would say exactly the same. I also sit on the board, so I'd like to be excused for the 2.
Thank you so much. Just back to us quorum, eh? So they're asking for some amendments to the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society MOU for the Ash Street development. Staff are looking to authorize the Chief Administrative Officer to sign the amended MOU between the Village of Valemount and the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussions on any of the amendments?
No, I was just going to say the 60 years is pretty standard when it comes to the financing through the.
We have the similar MOU with the daycare / housing development on Fifth.
Yeah.
All in favor? It's carried. 10.7, Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society for the Trail and Sidewalk Works Agreement. Recommendation that council authorize the CAO to sign the Trail and Sidewalk Works Agreement between the Village of Valemount and the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion. Councillor Pearson.
Quick question, I apologize for not bringing it forward earlier prior to the meeting. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So I'm just looking at with the 33% of estimated costs of phase 1, 33%, would that be a current estimate of total cost, or will that be a 3-year down the road estimate of total cost? Because it will be substantially different what we collect 33% of now and potentially down the road.
Mr. Devenel.
Your worship, to the councillor's comment, absolutely fair point. So in this case, we understand that 33% for phase 1 to be roughly equivalent to $40,000. That builds into contingency of 15% on the initial cost estimate. So it is based on today's numbers with a fairly healthy contingency, but certainly noted the concerns there, and there would be opportunity to reevaluate in phase 2 and phase 3 should we be able to develop the project, should the society develop the project to that state. So short answer is based on today's numbers, councillor.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, no.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Can we have Councillors MacLean and Mulyk back in, please? It was agreed that council authorized the CAO to sign the amended MOU as well as to sign a trail and sidewalks works agreement between the village and the Senior Citizens Housing Society. No new business this evening. Does anybody have a notice of motion to bring forward? Notice of motion is a opportunity for council to bring forward, to put a motion on the floor, to give council and staff bit of a heads up of what might be coming in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and to give and to authorize staff to put time and effort into something like that. So in recent times, I've asked council to authorize staff to look into a freedom of the city designation, whether or not it be a proclamation or simply a designation. So it does take some staff time, and outside of the business of strategic priorities, council needs some sort of direction to put some time and effort into things like that. No notices of motion I'm seeing yet. I'm sure they'll be coming. So to 14.1, council reports. Oh, let's keep it simple. Councillor Mulyk, what have you done over the last couple of weeks?
I've thought about a lot of things.
I love it.
Wondering,
Write any of them down?
well, wondering the road of how I got here. You know, just, you know, what are the circumstances that occurred to create this opportunity. I would have never thought this was going to happen 5 or 6 months ago. That's for certain.
Well, we do thank you for considering it and putting your name forward.
Thank you.
Councillor Blanchette.
I will give my list to Ms. Shepherd, but I do want to pick out a few things. The November 1st, we had our inaugural meeting, which was very unique and different, and glad to be there. And on November 11th, it was Remembrance Day, as we all know, and I had the honor of laying the wreath for the village. And I really, really appreciated that opportunity. Thank you.
Councillor MacLean.
I attended a Columbia Basin Trust local government committee meeting last week.
Awesome. Councillor Pearson.
I also have a rather extensive list since our last meeting was October 11th, and I will also forward it in writing to Ms. Shepherd so she doesn't have to take notes. Of course, scattered through the time since October 25th were appointee interviews where we had short interviews with all the candidates for appointment.
Meet and greets.
Meet and greets, yes. And that was a very good process. It was very interesting. November 1st, of course, was our inaugural meeting of council. November 3rd, there was a Personal Health Records Innovation Lab discussing how we were moving forward with the promotion of the My Health Key program. So we are really actively encouraging people to look at signing up for it. It allows you to access your personal health records. And the nice thing about this versus the provincial is it's kind of slated to be a two-way system, but currently the nice thing is you can book appointments online with your physicians that are involved in the program. So it's really nice. You can just sit on the couch, pick a time, pick a day, pick a physician. So we will be getting a lot more public feedback out to encourage people. And anybody has any questions, they can either contact me or Councillor Blanchette or ask at the desk at the clinic. And it takes 2 minutes to get you signed up with an email address, and away you go. Following that, November 7th, Community Forest meeting. November 9th, the NERD, Primary Care Network Subnet, which is virtual table where discussion on staffing and needs in the medical community between Mackenzie, McBride, and Valemount and Fort St. James Vanderhoof. Again, November 11th, Remembrance Day. November 16th, I attended Regional District Fraser Fort George meetings as the alternate for Mayor Torgerson. On the 16th was an orientation session, which was very enlightening on the differences in process between a regional district and a municipality. Surprising differences. I'm glad we don't deal with weighted votes at our table. I also sat in for attended the swearing-in ceremony that evening. And November 17th was the regular scheduled Regional District Fraser Fort George meeting. And that's my list.
Awesome. October 12th, had a couple interviews, one with Mr. Depinow and our partners at VCTV around the councillor appointment process. Later that day with CKPG. The 19th, VARTA board, as I was in Prince George, I attended virtually. October 20th was a pretty big day with the Regional District Fraser Fort George. Of course, it was the official opening of the Prince George and the Regional District Fraser Fort George Fire Operations and Communications Center. Brand new facility just off of Massey Drive. And as chair of the Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee with the Regional District, had interviews with CBC and CKPG during that opening, and then the regular open meeting with the RD. And then later that evening, had a quick, that morning, had a meeting with the Southeast BC Regional Connectivity Committee, where we discussed the Connecting Communities BC program. And council will remember the MOU signed between the province of BC and the government of Canada to connect rural and remote Canada by March 31st, 2027, and the financial portion to be shared between the two of $830 million to make it happen. So the Citizen Services here in BC came up with the Connecting Communities BC program and put a deadline of December the 17th of this year, the 15th of this year, shortly following inaugural meetings and other things. We had put some concerns forward to the minister, virtually impossible to meet that deadline without an extension. Not just, the forming of local governments, but also the mapping data that was required to go along with this application was actually released 43 days after the Connect BC program was launched. And to our gratitude, the minister is extending that, or not extending that, but having another intake for January. So hopefully the Southeast BC Regional Connectivity Committee and our partners at the Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation are able to bring something back to this council prior to that deadline. October 21st, had an Emil Anderson Maintenance Service Area 20 winter season stakeholder engagement out in Tijon with our Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Pelche. I had another follow-up meeting with the Southeast BC RCC on the 24th. Whole bunch of meet and greets with self-nominated candidates for the councillor position throughout last month, as well as discussions with municipal affairs, structure and governance staff regarding potential needs and shortcomings that the Local Government Act had outlined. On the 26th, I had a meeting with Simp First Nation and the Simp Resource Group, as well as Colliers Engineering, to discuss next steps and feasibility of the Valemount Airport expansion. And there will be a letter of support request coming to a future meeting from the First Nations Major Projects Coalition. On November the 1st, I had a meeting with Citizen Services Minister Lisa Bear, as well as Chair Rob Gay from the SEBBC RCC. And again, just reiterating, the Connecting Communities BC funding application program will be ongoing. So great news there. Inaugural meeting on the 1st. Another plethora of meet and greets with self-nominated candidates throughout the beginning of November. Mr. Depineau and I attended on the 7th the Village of McBride inaugural meeting of council. On November the 9th, I was able to take my RD FFG oath of office here in this location under the guidance of Mr. Depineau as our corporate officer. On the 11th, not council related, but I was able to attend a remembrance ceremony in Pictou when I was in Nova Scotia. The 14th, at a briefing with the Columbia Basin Trust CEO, Johnny Strelayev, around the housing budgets. Be looking to potentially increase from the Columbia Basin Trust standpoint. 16th, at a Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation meeting. And again, more interviews around the Office of Councillor Appointments with CPC on the 21st. And then later that day, we had Province of BC announced moves around housing, what they'll be changing to the local government, community charter, the Strata Act, things of that nature. And then we received a bit of a briefing later that day with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, Nathan Cullen, and the Minister responsible for Housing, Murray Rankin, as well as Associate Deputy Minister responsible for Housing, Terry Collins. And then just learned today there will be a cabinet shuffle on December the 7th, and a standalone Ministry of Housing will be formed by newly sworn in Premier Eby. So that's my report. Motion to receive. Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor MacLean. Discussion on the reports. All in favor of receipt? It's carried. We have time under 16.1, public comments on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda. Councillor G, sorry, Councillor. Mrs. G.
Hi, Sherry G, Village of Valemount. I just wanted to come tonight and congratulate our two new councillors and thank them wholeheartedly for putting their names up, as well as all the others that did as well. Great job in your first meeting. Look good in that chair. I'm really looking forward to seeing the work that this new council is going to do. You guys have a great team. You had a great team before. And yeah, go Team Valemount.
Thank you, former Sherry G. Former Councillor Sherry G. Thank you. Other public comments this evening? Motion to receive. Councillor Pearson, Councillor Blanchette. All in favor, receipt. It's carried. And under 17.1, now give notice to proceed in camera for consideration of one item per section 91A of the Community Charter to discuss matters related to A, personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, agent of the municipality, or other position appointed by the municipality. Motion, Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor Pearson. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you all for coming to the public portion of the meeting.